Good afternoon, Commissioners. First item is to call this meeting to order. Let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 3 is invocation by Commissioner Xiong. Commissioner.
A meditation quote by the Dalai Lama. Peace does not mean an absence of conflicts. Differences will always be there. Peace means solving these differences through peaceful means, through dialogue, education, knowledge, and through humane ways. Please join me for a moment of quiet reflection. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
Romano adopts the agenda.
Support Van Sickle.
Any discussion on the agenda? Please vote. Give me a written copy of the agenda.
Motion passes 13-0.
Very good, thank you. Item 5 is approval of the minutes from January 20th, 2022. I need a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved by Nard.
Support Zinner.
Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 6 is public participation. Anyone from the public wishes to be heard can speak for 3 minutes on any item on the agenda. There'll be a second session at the end of following the rest of the meeting where you can speak on any subject for 3 minutes. So anyone from the public here that wishes to be heard? Anyone from the public wish to be heard? One last time, anyone from the public? Seeing no one, will close public participation. Item 7 is appointments. We have 7A, Macomb Arts Authority. It's an executive appointment with the board concurrence. Jill S. Riley. Mrs. Riley was here previously. I need a motion.
Motion to approve Jill S. Riley.
Support by Nard.
Is there any discussion on this appointment? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 8A, budget amendment for Veteran Services budget. For Veteran Service Agency grant for $123,027. All these committees, item 8A through F, were previously the Health Services Committee.
Motion to approve Kleinfeld.
Support Sabatini.
Any discussion on that item?
Oh, that's A through F, right?
A through F, that was your motion was?
That's what my motion
Oh,
is.
okay. Does anyone have any discussion on any of those items? Seeing none, all those, Phil, please.
Motion passes 13-0.
Very good, thank you. Item 9 is the Records and Public Safety Committee recommendations, item 9A through D. Does anyone wish to separate any of those? If not, I'll entertain a motion for their concurrence.
Chair, I'll recommend A through C.
I'll support that.
Very good. Any discussion on those items? Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay. Item 9D, request from outside counsel, the Perkins Law Group, from Macomb County Prosecutor versus Macomb County Executive Court of Appeals case 359887. Engagement agreement for Perkins Law Group, representation of Prosecutor Lucido for an amount up to $90,000. Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to make a motion to approve this contract. However, amend it to $50,000.
Okay, is there support for that motion? Support by Commissioner Zinner. Is there a discussion on this item?
Chair.
Commissioner, go ahead, Commissioner Romano.
Oh, I'm sorry. It should have pushed in.
It's okay.
In front of me, go ahead.
No, please go ahead, you're it.
Thank you. I somewhat agree with Commissioner Sabatini, but if I may, I see the Zinner Group, or the Zinner Group, yeah, thank you. The Perkins Group represented here. Why are you laughing over there, Phil? I see the Perkins Group represented here, and I have a couple of questions, if I may, Chair.
Please.
If
Mr.
I, through
Perkins,
the
if you'd
chair, if
approach
I can
the
have Mr.
podium.
Perkins up?
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Perkins, last time you were here, we had some discussion as to your engagement prior to approval from this board, and you were going to come up with some numbers for us up until that time, and at the same time, maybe let us know what it's going to take, because you actually filed the brief on this particular case. So could you give us those numbers now, please?
Absolutely, and in anticipation, thank you. In anticipation of that, I have worked, one of the things that I did, first, as elected officials, may it please this body, my name is Todd Russell Perkins, appearing on behalf of the Perkins Law Group. What I did do is I made copies. So I had a fair number of hours coming in, and I can't recall what commissioner we were talking about. I said, look, I'll cut my hours at 20 hours for wherever we had started. And what I did do was showed how that if I could, I did make copies of a proposed bill that I did review along with the client, which Mr. Lucido. He's not here today, but we did have discussions, and what I did do was essentially at the day before that, I was here February 7th. The day before, I believe I made a footnote. By that time I had 32.1 hours. I do have an assistant who's been working, Chris Stump, who I didn't have an idea of the hours that he had, but I'd said I'd reduce it to 20 hours. So at that time I had 32.1 hours. So essentially I've shaved 12.1 hours off of the bill and have continued to work since then. I don't believe that this is something that would go beyond the, I think the recommendation for the 50,000 is well received. I know it's well received by you being focusing on the finances of the county, but I don't, because the bill we have right now with all the filings in right now, the bill totals, along with the cost associated with it, is $14,354. I can provide a copy to the commissioners if you'd like. It's a draft copy. I did sign off on it. I did review it. I have not had a chance to sort of audit it with Mr. Lucido, but I do prepared to give you a copy as a draft if you
We'll
like.
receive a copy, staff will take that from you, thank you.
Okay. I did make, yes.
So, Mr. Perkins, let me just round that off, if I may interrupt you so let's round this off to $15,000. You're talking $14,450. We'll round it off to $15,000. That's the cost incurred by your firm up to this date, which includes the prior work that you did for Mr. Lucido without board permission, and the cost of filing the brief, which the court has right now, and we're waiting on an answer. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so let's use $15,000 as a figure, all right?
Correct.
How do you, I've got to ask, where do you anticipate another $10,000 or another $35,000 coming from for cost?
We don't know whether there's going to be oral argument. There's also the position that I have discussed with other lawyers who are involved in this, the possibility of seeking circuit court relief, going another avenue. That would be something that could, essentially it's the same action, almost the same action, except we pull the UBAA out, the Uniform Budget aspect of it out, and just can argue from the perspective that there's a continuing, ongoing dereliction of duty by the chief executive not doing what he's supposed to do by law. So that is another aspect of it, but I don't see, far be it for me to come back later on and ask for something different, but I don't see this getting to that $50,000 mark.
Mr. Perkins, your hourly rate is, you personally, your hourly rate?
My hourly rate is $750 an hour. But municipal rate is $290 an hour in this agreement.
Okay, and you mentioned somebody else, that you had somebody else helping you?
Yes, that is Chris Stump, who's
Just
working.
the
His
dollars.
hours,
What does he get paid an hour?
his hourly rate is billed at $115 an hour.
Okay.
Yes, $115 an hour.
So, Commissioner Sabatini offered that 50,000. You said you doubted it would go beyond that.
Correct.
It's just my personal opinion. I'm just wondering if Commissioner Sabatini wouldn't mind reducing that to $25,000, and if it needs more, we'll take it accordingly. Just a suggestion. Thank you, Chair. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
I think Commissioner Hall is.
Did you have percent? Commissioner Hall, please go ahead.
I don't want to get in trouble over here.
Thank you, Chair. And no, you wouldn't have gotten in trouble. My vote will reflect no reference to you, Mr. Perkins, or your firm whatsoever. We do need clarification on those 3 sentences in the charter to assure that moving forward or during this particular incident, we have clarification on who has what role as it applies to elected officials. My personal feeling is that's what we have our attorney for. He's the one that should be and is representing us through his amicus brief, and we don't need 2 law firms doing the same thing. So with that, Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hall. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. First, I want you to know that we recognize it was not your responsibility to bring it to us before you started working. You're kind of caught in the middle of that. So I just want you to know that we recognize that. Second, at the last meeting, I brought up, because I didn't really like the 90,000. I said, if I give you 90, I know you'll spend it, because that's been my experience. It seems to me that you've shown that you're trying very hard not to. So I do believe that there probably will be some sort of appeal on either side in the case. I think that this is a reasonable amount. I think given the bill that you've given us so far, I don't know if you remember, Mr. Smith's attorney was just supposed to make an initial appearance on a Friday, came to us 4 days later and told us it would be done by the end of the week, and the man spent $10,000. So I'm actually pretty impressed on your attempt to keep the costs down, so I'm going to support this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kleinfeld. Commissioner Zinner.
Is there an expectation from, thank you, Antoinette. Is there an expectation of an end cost here at this time?
Say that again.
Is there an expectation of an end cost here at this time?
I don't know. I don't know what to expect.
I mean, I would think that there would not be. I mean, I would think that we don't really know at this time, do we?
No, we don't know. Don't know
Right.
what the future holds.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other speakers on this subject? Has there been a motion made and supported for an amendment? Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. Initially when I made the motion to reduce this contract to $50,000, it was under the anticipation of where we'd currently be for the prosecutor and his counsel in regards to where they'll be, and most likely anticipation that this will get appealed. So, as I sit here and think about where we could be, I'm looking at a number of $14,000, a little over $14,000, $15,000. I think if we reduce it based on what Commissioner Romano said, I think counsel will be here probably in a month to ask for a revised contract. So I'm going to keep the motion as is. If anyone would like to talk specifically about the amount, I will certainly hear that if anyone still wants to speak. But I think based on where we have started at 90 and bringing it to 50, I think that's a equitable number here for them to complete whatever they need to complete. And then if there is additional needs, then they will have to come to this board and request another addition to that contract. So, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else? I see no one on the list. Motion's been made and supported. Please vote to amend.
Motion passes 11-2. Commissioners Haw and Romano voting no.
Okay, thank you
And
very
Chair,
much.
may I, for clarification, it is up to. It's
Up
not
to.
it's not a $50,000 contract.
understood.
It's an up to. I just wanted
Absolutely.
to clarify that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
This motion goes to full board for, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 10 is the Internal Services Committee recommendations, items A, B, and C. Again, these were approved in committee. Can I have a motion on all three?
Motion to approve 10 A, B, and C.
Support by Nard.
Any discussion on any of these items? Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 11, Government Oversight Committee. 11A, a contract with Hunch Free Marketing Services. Need a motion?
So move, Hall.
Discussion on this item. Commissioner Xiong.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be voting no today. No, not towards Humphrey at all, because they have been doing a very well job. And I think that for the next year, they will continue to do a good job. But I think that this contract could have been bid out. And again, I know this is a professional service, but I think that, when we have other departments come to us, we always question if they don't bid out the contract. And I think it would be important for us to follow our values. So I'll be voting no. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Xiong. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. I had a hard time finding out the change in the revised contract because apparently it's only a couple words. But those words Crystal explained to me were if applicable, and it was with respect to the fees that I was concerned about. And there was an indication that they don't think those fees are applicable to this particular contract. I still would have liked an out clause, and I would like in the future that one be drawn in if they get future years, because I'm willing to give the year, but every other contract that comes before us gives both parties an opportunity to exit the contract. Given so many days' notice, you might give them 2 months or something of that nature. But because that little bit was put in there, and because there are several commissioners that are happy with the services, I'm going to support the contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kleinfeld. Commissioner Matusek.
This is totally, thank you, Mr. Chair, totally not in regard to the Hutch services they provided. I think this contract should have been bid out, and I intend to vote against it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Anyone else? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 10-3. Commissioners Song, Matusek, and Wallace voting no.
Thank you. Item 12, Resolution 12A, Resolution opposing Senate Bills 597, 598, amending Social Welfare Act and Mental Health Code. Need a motion to approve? Or a motion? So moved. Moved by Commissioner Kraft, for support.
Support.
Support by Commissioner Ha. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 12 to 1. Commissioner Farrington voting no.
Thank you. Item 13, proclamations commending New Haven Community Schools on the occasion of their 100th anniversary. Moved by Commissioner Kraft, support. Support by Commissioner Wallace. Any discussion on this? Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Chair. Just real quick, I want to congratulate New Haven on their 100th anniversary. They actually celebrated it during homecoming back in October, but with everything happening with my mom in September, I sort of missed the party there. So we will be presenting it to them at another time, and just want to congratulate them for 100 years. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Please vote.
Motion passes 13 to 0.
Okay, item 14, we got correspondences A and B. I need a motion to receive and file.
So move on.
Support by Nard.
Very good. Any discussion?
There's no B.
Yeah, there was A and B. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
Yes, Chair, I'm on the list.
Please.
Thank you, Chair. Regarding the 14B change dates of the meeting, I don't mind them at all. I was just wondering what the change was for.
The changes for, there's a conference, I've got a pension conference that I have to attend, and I wasn't on the schedule prior, so I wanted to attend, so not to miss the meetings. I wanted to move those meetings up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Please vote. To receive and file.
Motion passes 13 to 0.
Thank you. Public participation. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to be heard? You can speak on any subject you like. Anyone on the public participation wishes to be heard? One more time. Anyone from the public? Seeing no one under public participation, we'll close that. Item 16 are commissioner comments. Commissioner Matuzik.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to bring folks up to date on the zoo/nature center issue that we've talked about a couple of times. The leadership in Clinton Township and Mount Clemens has once again reiterated the offer of public land to the zoo. And considering the fact that we have a new zoo director who took office not that long ago, last week we sent a letter, Commissioner Wallace and myself, the mayor of Mount Clemens, some city commissioners, some Clinton Township residents or elected officials, just to sort of reiterate, welcome to the area. We hope you'll come and see this. We sent the site maps. We sent a lot of information, assuming she didn't have it because she was new, and offered to meet with her. She's been unable to do that, but she did send back an email that I thought was worth noting. It says, "For now, please know that I have heard the suggestions and I am taking the offer of this site very seriously. I also wanted you to know that we are still in very preliminary stages of examining the Nature Center under my leadership, and no decisions other than committing to building the center in Macomb County have been made." So I think we have a little bit of progress, and I would love, once again, to get someone from the zoo here to talk about the larger issue of what we get for our zoo millage, but I do feel like we're making a little progress on holding them to their promises to Macomb County. So I
Thank
just
you,
wanted to
Commissioner.
report that. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Commissioner Xiong.
Thank you, Chair. On Sunday, I attended a vigil for the Ukrainian community at the Cultural Center in Warren on 696 and Ryan Road. And I think everyone has been hearing on the news what's been happening across our globe and how this affects us here in the States. So I just wanted to share my experience with all of you guys. I met a woman by the name of Oksana, and she has a sister and her brother-in-law that are still in Ukraine. Her brother-in-law didn't want to come to this country. They wanted to stay behind. And so that's why her sister and her family is still in Ukraine. And her brother-in-law wanted to stay and fight against the Russians. There was about 250 people that attended the event, so it was very well attended. It was a great event to just show our support for the Ukrainian community. We do have about 20,000 residents in the Metro Detroit area, mainly in Warren and Sterling Heights, that are of Ukrainian descent. And so that I just ask that all of you guys keep their families and the Ukrainian community and our residents in your thoughts and prayers during this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Nard.
First of all, thank everybody for the birthday wishes. There was a young man that's in my community. He got hit by a car February 1st. And this past Friday, the family and I, we had to pull the plug on him. He was 17 years old. His name's Christian Johnson. I was upset at first because when he got hit, he was on his way to school, and when the police arrived, they had to go and get the mother. I guess he must have been talking to her or something, because that's how they knew where she was. And they didn't do anything. And I tried for a few weeks to get in touch with, the proper officials to see what was going to happen. So far, nothing has happened, but we're going to be memorializing him on the 27th. I believe that's this Sunday at 4 o'clock at Owen Jackson Warren. And I just want everybody to keep that family in their thoughts and prayers. He was he was the first of 8 children, and he was the one that was helping his mom take care of all the younger kids. And we had to get all the kids up there so they could say goodbye to him. And he was also a member of the robotics community with, what school district is that? Right there on 9 Mile, not Fitzgerald, but which one? Van Dyke. So he was with the robotics, and I'm very touched by that. It really bothered me that, because I had just seen him, and so it was just shocked to hear that was him that got hit on that corner there. And so just keep the family in your prayers. The mother's very devastated right now, and so is the younger sibling. So I just want to just take a few minutes of silence in remembrance of him. And again, his name is Christian Jackson. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Farrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to bring something to the attention of the members of this commission. There is a Senate Bill 525 out there that was written for one person and one person only, our executive of this county. And the chairman and vice chairman both gave cards of support and testimony. I didn't even know it existed. So basically it changes the next executive term after this one to 2 years. Well, actually this one to 2 years. And then in 2024, it'll be a 4-year term. The only reason I can see it is so that a commissioner doesn't run against the executive. Otherwise, there's no purpose for it. So I just wanted to let everyone know that. If I read it correctly, we as a board have to do a resolution by April 1st. So just want to let you guys all know about it. We can go from there. Thank you.
What's the status of that Senate bill, Commissioner? Did they vote on it?
I didn't hear you.
Has that bill been voted on yet?
I think it was in committee because I saw the support card, so, but that's all I know.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a laundry list of things, but Commissioner Kleinfeld took one of them off my platter, so I'm going to stick with all CMH things. I want to thank the board for approving the resolution. I'm hearing rumors in Lansing that those bills are coming up either next week or the following week, so it's very timely, so I appreciate that. In terms of, we had a CMH meeting last night, full board. We had a report from our finance director who's been out for a couple months on our finances. We are doing extremely well. We are fully funded, our savings is fully funded, and our ISF, which is our reserves, is also fully funded. So for some of the newer commissioners, a few years ago, CMH was about to come to this body for more money because we were about to go bankrupt and belly up. And when that happens, we have to go to the general fund. So the fact that we've done a full reversal and we're sticking to that course was great news last night. applications for the CMH board, if you want to join Commissioner Wallace and I, are due, I believe, Wednesday the 2nd. Commissioner Kleinfeld's #1 priority. And then lastly, some sad news. Aaron Thomas from Corp Counsel, who has been our go-to person for CMH in Corp Counsel's department, is leaving us, I believe, tomorrow. So we will miss him greatly from the CMH side of things. He was very timely with a lot of the contract approvals that were coming through on short notice. So I wanted to thank Aaron for his service here for us. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Kraft. Commissioner Wallace. Commissioner Wallace.
Thank you. Commissioner Kraft pretty much said what I wanted to say, but thank you all for your support on the resolution. It's important for us to be the voice of those that have no voice at this time. So thank you for your support.
Thank you. Commissioner Haw.
Thank you, Chair. First, I'd like to thank our Commissioner and Chairman of CMH for the fine job that he's been doing. We've had discussions about how much time and effort, how strenuous that board could be, and we're looking for your guidance moving forward in the future. So thank you for what you've done. Maya, thank you very much for bringing up Ukraine. That's on a lot of people's hearts. It certainly hasn't left. The media and the prayers on social media have just been overwhelming. So thank you for bringing that up. And on the zoo issue, I have recommended to our chairman that, and I appreciate the letter that was sent, a resolution from this board to that chairman of the zoo committee would carry some weight, I would think, in the decision. So I would like to offer to Commissioner Matuzak to help draft that resolution, since you were the author or drafter of the letter.
I'm the one that's bugging him. That's it.
Yeah, okay, fair. I was being kind, so thank you. And that's all I have, Chairman. Oh, yesterday I attended a memorial service for what it's the former mayor, council member of Flint, former chairman of the Genesee Board of Commissioners, former state representative, and we used to call each other our wingman up in Lansing. He passed away unexpectedly, and I will miss him. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Hall. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, with respect to Ukraine, thank you for bringing it up. I'm kind of mad as hell about it, because you know what we do? We politely, diplomatically negotiate with thugs while they're building up on a border right in front of us, and we keep trying to politely, diplomatically negotiate with thugs. Every administration for years and years and years has done that. You can't politely and diplomatically negotiate with a thug. What you should do is you should put yourself in a defensive position that they take a second thought before they go rolling into a democracy. And I think that we need to think about that in the future, both parties, everybody. We need to protect countries that are trying to thrive as democracies, and you don't do that by leaving your tank somewhere else. So I've said my 2 cents about that. The other thing I would like to acknowledge is thank you for bringing that up, Commissioner Farrington. This is the second law that I'm aware of that specifically only affects one county. The first one was putting all of the commissioners on the drain boards in their district, which I am not opposed to, I'm in favor of. But what it also did was it did not allow us to have alternates. Those of you that sit on drain boards know that the other 2 people sitting at the table are allowed to have alternates take their place if they can't attend, and we do not have that option because it was not voted on that way in Lansing. We were completely unaware that this law that was specific to this commission and nobody else in the state was even being discussed in Lansing, and it was voted on before we even knew it existed. And it got me to thinking, boy, it's been an awful long time since we've seen this lobbyist that informs us on everything that's going on in Lansing. And it just brings to the surface, we did not budget during budget for us to have a lobbyist. I talked to several commissioners who said they didn't think that we needed it at this time, and I appreciate that. I'm just going to advocate for the upcoming budget. I think this body needs to know what's happening in Lansing and how it affects us and how it affects our county financially. And I think if we have our own firm that doesn't represent the county, which that gives it to the charter to the executive, that represents this commission, I think that if we did that, we would be more informed. And that is my 2 cents for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner Clanfield. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, need a motion to go.
Commissioner
into-
Xiong,
Commissioner Song.
still on there.
Okay, pop, okay, just
Thank
pop.
you.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
I did look.
So I'm not an advocate of war or violence. I'll let the military of the U.S. decide what to do. I think they'd be more qualified to do that. But I will say one of the effects of war is people are being displaced. And myself being a refugee, I take that very personally. So again, just keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Regarding the Senate bill, Chair, I don't know if we have a subscription to Myers. Is it MIRS?
Mirrors, yes.
Mears. The bills do come up there, and I do get emails about bills that are in committee, and so I was aware of that one. I just wonder if we could have staff subscribe to it if they're not already, then they can update us on any important legislation that is affecting our county.
Roger that.
Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Hawk.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe Veronica can give us all the MAC website. They always give an in-depth detail of the bills in Lansing and what's going on, and that's where I pick up my information, other than the contacts I have in Lansing, as Jeff does. Don't let him kid you. Thank
There's
you, Chairman.
there's also the MAC weekly briefing that I look at, and it's quite informative. Actually, it's interactive too, so it's a good tool as well. So there are tools, but there are more tools that we could bring available to ourselves. So whatever works for all of us, we'll make it available. Anybody else? I don't see anyone on the list. All right, we need a motion to go into a closed session.
So moved by Nard.
Support by Commissioner Nard, support by Commissioner Romano. Please vote.
Did we say we're for?
Mr. Chair, you have to read the whole reasoning.
I'm looking for the language. Closed session to discuss confidential attorney-client privilege memo for independent counsel and pending litigation, Hacker versus Macomb County Board of Commissioners, case number 2018-001-252-CZ. Please vote. Thank you.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Please vote.
There's just a whole lot of wives whose husbands aren't going to come home.
Motion passes 13-0.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioners. Have a good evening. Thank you, Commissioners. Have a good evening.